Good morning, 5th and 6th graders. It's hard to believe that we've completed almost 3 weeks of distance learning, and we've just about completed chapter number 14 in your history book. Let's take a quick review over some of the countries that we've learned thus far. Continue to consult your map. We've studied about England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and Northern Ireland. Don't forget the bodies of water close by as well, such as the English Channel, the North Sea, the Thames River, Bay of Biscay, the Strait of Gibraltar, the big Mediterranean Sea, as well as the Aegean Sea, the Adriatic Sea also. We've studied the little country of Portugal, Spain. We went north to France, over to Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, Greece. And then in our most recent lesson, we talked about the lands that they had actually had to make their land because of it being below sea level, such as the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Let's take a look today, however, a little further north as we get up into the Scandinavian regions of Norway, Sweden, Finland, Jutland or Denmark, and Iceland. Now, when I think about these countries, I can't help but think about the movies Frozen 1 and 2. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to offend the boys, but they are set in these northern Scandinavian countries. Now, when you study the Scandinavian regions, you will read about the Vikings. They were a fierce group of warriors traditionally known for their blonde hair and blue eyes. They actually explored all the way over to the New World, but they made no lasting colony there, so they were not remembered for that. The Scandinavian regions, as mentioned a moment ago, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and Iceland. Now notice, these countries extend up above the Arctic Circle. They're in the frigid zone, the northern parts of them. In fact, Norway, as we're going to find out in a moment, extends farther north than any other country. These countries can sometimes show off the beauties of God's creation, such as the northern lights or the aurora borealis. Norway is sometimes called the land of the midnight sun. Again, it extends far north, and in certain times of the year, for 24 hours a day, the sun shines all 24 hours. Norway is also known for the fjords. Now, it looks like it's pronounced fjords, but we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we pronounce it correctly. Even in Caldwell County, that is fjords. And the fjords are narrow inlets of sea with high rocky banks, and they're found throughout Norway. Its capital, Oslo. Stockholm, Sweden is sometimes called the Venice of the North because a lot of their buildings are along the waterway or canals and channels of water, just like Venice, Italy. Hence that nickname, Stockholm, Sweden. Another image there of some beautiful buildings that you can see in Sweden. Denmark has the capital of Copenhagen. Again, you can see some of their buildings along the waterway. It is home to Jutland, that peninsula, but a lot of the people of Denmark actually live in the islands. There's about 100 islands. It's kind of peppered out in the coast of the North Sea or the Baltic Sea, and that's where the primary bulk of people would live in Denmark. Denmark owns Greenland, and you probably remember that Greenland is the largest island in the world, so Denmark owns this island. Most of the habitation of Greenland would be along the coast because in the heart of Greenland, you're talking about some cold area of land. Reykjavik, Iceland is a unique country because this country has both volcanoes, hot springs, and geysers right alongside of glaciers. Therefore, it has been nicknamed the land of fire and ice, Iceland. We talked some in class before we were separated about how if you didn't have a fin, you might sinky, because Helsinki is the capital of Finland. Now, the people of Finland are more of Russian descent rather than of Viking descent. Now, as mentioned earlier, this land is cold in the northern regions. Some of it falls in the tundra zone. Now, the word tundra is a Russian word. It simply means marsh. It's a marshy, swampy, boggy type of region. And even in the warmer months, you're going to have about 3 feet below the surface of the ground, permanently frozen ground. That's called the permafrost. The people that would traditionally live in this region would be your Inuit people, formerly called Eskimos. Also in this region, you could find Laplanders. They are known for their herding of reindeer, which is their main source of food and income. Now, as you finish this chapter, the final couple of pages, which I believe are scheduled for Monday's reading, just talks about the languages of Europe, so read that carefully. I wanted to take just a moment and go over some answers with you. So I'm looking on pages 264 and 265. These are your homework pages. I'm going to quickly go through your answers. You can check if you already have it done. If you don't have it done, grab a pencil and write them in as we go through it. I thought this would help you, and I also thought that if your parents would take a screenshot of this spread of paper and send it to me, that will equal a 100 for you in history. So stay with me. We're going to start with section E, number 1. The huge swamp south of Seville, Spain, the Tidelands, formed by the Rock of Gibraltar and a similar mountain in northern Africa, Pillars of Hercules. A special kind of oak, cork. A form of government that allows private property but takes away people's freedoms, fascist. Do you remember what country you can find fascism, or you could find it? That would be in Italy. I know some of you remember that. Number 5, a French movement that rebelled against authority and promoted humanism, the Enlightenment. Number 6, a dam-like barrier made of earth and stone. We talked about this just earlier this week. That's found in the Netherlands, a dike. Number 7, I illustrated these with my shoes that were worn by Dutch farmers. They are klompen. Number 8, a temporary shelter made of ice blocks would be an igloo, and that would be found in your reading pages for today or tomorrow. Section F, and I think a few of these had already been assigned, so maybe it didn't take you too long to complete. But in section F, number 1, Cortez conquered Mexico. Magellan, first man to sail around the world. Polo, Italian trader who was the first European to sail across Asia. Jacques Cartier, he discovered the St. Lawrence River. Pasteur, of course, he discovered the importance of protecting the body against germs. Calvin, the leader of the Protestant Reformation in France. Bach, the father of modern music. Handel, he composed the Messiah. And Beethoven, a composer of music even after he was dead. Now I'm jumping to section G. I'm just giving you your answers quickly. You can always pause as you maybe need to write down answers. Spain's most famous writer, Cervantes. First European to sail to India, Vasco da Gama. Number 3, painted the Mona Lisa, Da Vinci. Number 4 was Michelangelo, known for sculpting David and Moses. Number 5, Italian scientist Galileo. Number 6, Mussolini, fascist dictator. Number 7, Madame Curie, known for discovering radium. Number 8, Joan of Arc from France. Number 9, also from France, dictator Bonaparte. Number 10, now that one was a tough one. I didn't cover it in the slides. World War II hero who later became president of France's Fifth Republic was Charles de Gaulle. Number 11, William Tell. Number 12 was Henri Dunant for the International Red Cross. Number 13, the Nazis, Adolf Hitler. Number 14 was Einstein, and 15, William the Silent. There was one more little section here on section J. We won't go over it. If your parents can just screenshot this with those correct answers, that'll be an easy quiz grade for you. Guys, I hope you're doing well. I sure do miss you, thinking about you today. See you soon.